I teach negotiations and corporate law at Harvard Law School and also at Harvard Business School. And I'm kicking things off here this morning to try to, as it says, set the stage for productive negotiations. Give you a toolkit which you can use today, tomorrow, as you go back into your real situation starting next week, right away, and hopefully get to better outcomes, both in the short term and in the long term. So some specific tactics. How do you achieve win-win or interest-based negotiation? Number one, meeting in person. The moves we'll talk about are much better done in person than they are over the phone, clearly better than email, clearly better than texting. That's the worst. But many negotiations at even the highest levels are done by text messaging, not so good, right? Getting in person, being in front of each other can build trust. Manage the physical space. So for example, sit on the same side of the table as your counterpart. That communicates volumes about your willingness to work together on the problem. Here's a fun example from a couple months ago. This is a board, well-known company, evenly divided on a major decision. Tensions are running high. They have a board meeting, so I'm called in to, quote, moderate. That was important. I'm not going to be on one side or the other, but I'm called by one of the purple people. So here's the move that's, I think, quite important. The board members are asked to, they're meeting at the law firm, not at their own company, but at the law firm because the tensions are so high. Law firms in DC. And they're asked, because it's not their normal boardroom, to pick up their name card and put it where they'd like to sit. What's the mistake? What's going to happen?
Fight for space.
Fight for space. Let me show you. Here's the board table. This is probably not drawn to scale, but you can get the point. And so outside counsel shows up first, right? He's the service provider. He shows up first, so he's sitting there. Here are some of the yellow people start to show up. There's one of them shows up there. Purple guy shows up, picks up his card, goes there. Yellow guy goes there. Purple guy goes here. What's going on? Right? This is, I think the unfortunate mistake, and I should have been aware of this myself and maybe advised outside counsel on this, was to say, you pick up your name card. I mean, it seems so innocuous, but when that happened, you get this dynamic. So the paralegal shows up, sits there. Another yellow person shows up. Now, at this point, I show up, and I'm told by outside counsel to sit next to him. Okay, so I'm sitting there, but I do notice this dichotomy between the purples and the yellows. And notice, I was brought in by the purples. I don't know if I said that correctly, but I was brought in by the purples. So I'm sitting on the purple side. Yellow guy shows up, purple guy, and pretty soon it's exactly like this. This is it. This is the board, and they're now about to begin the meeting. Now I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? This is bad. Because at least two things. One, it's not conducive to a meaningful discussion. It's going to be a fight, right? And you don't want to frame it that way. And two, I was brought in by the purples, right? And I'm sitting on the purple side of the table. How credible can I be to the yellows having sat on the purple side of the table? I've lost my credibility even before the meeting has started. I should not have let myself get in this position. But I think we've all been in this position where you see the physical space set up in a way that's not conducive to a good exchange. Well, what might you do?